through 2 weeks, this is as bad as it could possibly be at the quarterback position. No?
Oh, it's bad. It is bleak. I was actually before lunch. I was rewatching the game, which is not fun.
Wow.
And yeah,
that is dedication, my friend.
All right. I think one thing that's interesting. I'm writing a story about it for CBSSports.com that I'm halfway through before the hunger pains kicked in. Is that the 3rd and 5 where Bryce takes that horrible sack on the left sideline?
Yeah, that was like the second series of the game, right?
Yeah. It's third and 5, so it's a manageable third down. It's the second series of the game. Bryce. The Chargers send 6 on a blitz. And by the way, Bryce, Jacob Gibbs, one of my colleagues, noted that Bryce was the least pressured quarterback of any starting quarterback in the NFL this week, and still had that performance, which is really bad. But they sent 6. They get after Bryce. They chase him out of the pocket. He rolls left. And, you can look at it, really, that entire play is sort of a systematic failure of this Panthers offense. One, because of what it said pre-snap, okay? You've got this blitz coming. It's obvious this blitz is coming. You've got to have a check at the line of scrimmage, or maybe a hot route or something. Bryce has to see 6. He has to see the guys. I mean, they were jamming the line of scrimmage.
Right.
You have to see that and think, all right, do I need to get the ball out quick? Adam Thielen was available underneath. Maybe get a first down, or at least get close. Dave Canales, when he was in Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield was only allowed to have a max at all times of 2 plays that he could operate in at the line of scrimmage. And I'm guessing, and this seems like a fairly obvious guess, that Dave Canales is not more likely to give more control to a non-veteran like Bryce Young. And so I would guess that, he doesn't have the ability to check out of a play at the line of scrimmage if he sees a blitz, which is a big problem if you're trying to, alternate your approach and trying to, play the game of chess that is football when it comes to what you're calling on offense, what you're moving into against certain defenses, et cetera. And so that's problematic. Then you have the fact that when Bryce is running to his left to escape the pressure, you have, these receivers who are still getting into their routes deeper down the field instead of working back towards Bryce. The Chargers are sitting 6, so you got 5 out there. You have guys in single coverage. Yeah. Nobody's open because of the routes and just because of the skill set of the various guys you've got. And then as a result, Bryce has to throw it away. Well, he doesn't even do that.
Right.
He holds the ball and takes a sack there, which not the end of the world, but certainly not going to help you stay healthy.
Yeah, that was the thing that got me. I'm like, you don't need to take the hit. Just throw the ball across the line of scrimmage. You're out of the pocket. It doesn't. You don't have to be a hero. But yeah, taking that hit was completely unnecessary. Here's the thing that really bothered me about the whole operation, and I am already over the silver lining, esque nature of the coaching staff and everybody. I'm already over it, because there's no way to silver lining this. The best play they had, the first down they picked up, came at the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. 4 minutes left in the half.
Not great.
Right? 12-yard run by Chuba Hubbard. He's emotional at the sideline. He wasn't emotional to his teammates. He was emotional at the sideline. I couldn't tell if he was looking at Dave Canales or not, but he was staring at the sideline. They were almost at midfield, like, let's run the ball. The next play was an empty backfield. And for the life of me, for a coach that preached we are going to run the football in the preseason, why he's not running the football. Am I crazy?
No, I mean, I think it has been, I do think, and look, I don't want to drag Dave Canales here, but I think when you look at the way that oftentimes what happens when, someone who doesn't have a ton of experience as an offensive coordinator, 1 year, right, with the Buccaneers calling plays, and then makes the leap to become a head coach, well, we always want to get the offensive guy because he's an offensive savant. He can do all this and that, and that's true. That's great. But even Sean McVay, when he took over the Rams, knew that this is one of the smartest things coaches can do. He hired Wade Phillips as his defensive coordinator because Wade had been a head coach. You get a sounding board there. You trust. You can literally just give him the defense and you don't even worry about it. Well, when you make the jump from offensive coordinator to head coach, there's a ton going on, and a lot of times your play calling, your decision making in game, there's so much more added to your plate that you can see a drop off on that. And yeah, I think part of the problem is that this is not a team that is necessarily good at running the football, but they're not good at passing the football. And I think a lot of the play designs are not like fitting the situation.
Nope.
Like get Bryce some quick reads, get the ball out of his hands as fast as possible, because this guy at this point looks completely shook.
Yep.
I saw an interesting point from Sam Monson, who's with the 33rd team now.
Right.
Noted he and Steve Palazzo do a podcast, and Sam was like, they should bench Bryce Young for 3 games and play Andy Dalton 2 or 3 games, whatever it is, just to get a baseline. Like, let's play Andy Dalton. What does the offense look like without Bryce Young? Because I don't think anybody knows. Like, you and me, like, nobody knows what the offense would look like. And maybe it's a total disaster with Andy Dalton, too. I would think if it's Dalton in there, you probably get some more checks, some more freedom at the line of scrimmage, a little, ability to, diagnose defenses as a veteran. Maybe it comes across better. I don't know that it would be like an explosive offense, but I do think that's an interesting idea to sort of say, all right, will this offense work with somebody else, one, and then two, like, as much as it pains you to say, it sounds like a total, like, no offense intended, millennials, it sounds like a millennial cop-out, like, give him a brain break, But, like, I don't know, this guy needs a break from being the Panthers quarterback. Bryce Young does. This is like taking a toll on him, and you could see it. I mean, asked about his confidence after the game. He said, "I'm confident in the Lord."
Yeah, he's shattered. He is shattered as a quarterback right now.
You're shattered and you are forsaken, pal.
Yeah, all right. Let's talk about good football teams, because right now the Panthers are the worst team I've ever seen, and I grew up a Jets fan. All right, so Chiefs 26, Bengals 25. KC is now 4-3 against Cincinnati in the Patrick Mahomes era. I thought Burrow looked better, but was KC simply lucky to win this game?
Yeah, I think Burrow definitely looked better. You got to feel good if you're the Cincinnati Bengals and Bengals fans. You need to get T. Higgins back. But certainly, like, this team starts slow every single year. It's unbelievable. And it looks like this year is not going to be an exception to that rule. With KC, I don't know. I mean, they might have been lucky to win that game. I do think with Kansas City, and we've made plenty of, comparisons to the Patriots dynasty with this Chiefs team, where you have the legendary quarterback,
yep.
You have a Hall of Fame coach, you're ripping off, 3 Super Bowl wins in 4 years to kickstart this dynasty. Well, you know what part of, like, a large part of what the Patriots did to become a dynasty was not losing football games. And sometimes you can get lucky, but you do enough where you don't put yourself in a position to lose. Bill Belichick always talked about how he was, I can't remember if it was Walsh or Parcells who told him this, but basically said, like, let the other, like, give the other guy as much time as possible to find a way to lose and the other team, and they will. More games
are lost than won, Belichick said.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, just spend your time not making mistakes. And when you have this Kansas City team too that has, even with Xavier Worthy being a new piece, and Hollywood Brown obviously out for the season, but now Pacheco are going to miss a bunch of games. That's a problem for them. I think they're really thin at running back. But there's so much, like, consistency in that organization on the defensive side of the ball. When you have a guy like Andy Reid coaching up the offense, you have consistency. And so I think those attributes of this Kansas City team are what oftentimes land them in this position where, you're able to take advantage of being lucky because you have put yourself in that position. And that's, that applies across all walks of life.
I would also point out that the Chiefs, at times, were their own worst enemy. They had some ill-timed penalties that took away some big gains. Was the defensive pass interference on 4th and 16 the right call?
not if you judge the memes on Twitter, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. I don't care about that, but was it the right call?
Yeah, probably a bit of a bailout for Patrick Mahomes there.
I think it was the right call because I think it was Rashee Rice. I think he makes the catch if the guy doesn't hit him.
I mean, yeah. Look, the Chiefs. You know, it's like I think somebody said like that Patrick Mahomes has been gifted more first downs by defensive pass interference than like any other quarterback in football in the last 6 years. It's like he's also throwing the most passes. You know, I mean, it's a high profile game. If you make a play on that, you have to be careful knowing that, you're going against a team that might get the benefit of the doubt offensively in a way that's, not dissimilar to, locally, Duke basketball would get a lot of calls. And part of that was Coach K, berating refs, but also you tend to see more often than not, good teams are the beneficiaries of close calls because there's sort of this belief, like it's sort of a subconscious belief, like, all right, this, these guys do this so well, it's very believable that it will be done well here, if that makes sense.
Who got more calls in his career than Michael Jordan? I mean, nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody got more calls than Michael Jordan in his career. So I guess it was the Saints and maybe not the Cowboys that were for real.
Yeah. Man, I got to tell you, we undersold dramatically the addition of Clint Kubiak to that coaching staff in New Orleans. So people are going to call it the Shanahan system.
Yeah.
And it is. But, it's like before Kyle Shanahan was a coach in the NFL, Gary Kubiak was Mike Shanahan's offensive coordinator.
Right.
And Clint Kubiak, clearly his son, running the same sort of system. When Gary Kubiak left Mike Shanahan and went and took the Houston Texans coaching job, he had, ironically, his quarterback when he got there was David Carr. He decided to move on from David Carr. He was a broken man.
Yes.
And went and traded for former UVA legend Matt Schaub from the Falcons because Schaub was backing up Michael Vick. Staub comes over and, had been a backup. There was some upside there. We didn't know exactly what he was going to be. He runs that Kubiak system. We have a ton of motion, pre-snap motion. It's the Shanahan stuff, the bootlegs, the play action off the run game. And what happened, he ended up leading the league in passing yards. And I think it's possible that, because we see this a lot more often than I think people realize, later in their careers, you sometimes see quarterbacks just by happenstance sometimes land with the right coach, the right system, the right scheme, and they sort of blossom. We saw it with Bruce Arians and Carson Palmer. And a lot of times we see quarterbacks fail because they don't land in the right system, the right scheme. And I think there is some validity to the idea that Pete Carmichael, the former OC, who had been with Sean Payton forever, ran motion and pre-snap motion at the lowest rate in the entire NFL last year for the Saints. And now through 2 games, the Saints have the highest rate of pre-snap motion in the entire league. And it clearly benefits Derek Carr. It clearly benefits this personnel. Alvin Kamara looks awesome. Rashid Shaheed is, a legitimate, almost 1B wide receiver in that offense. And we haven't even really seen Chris Olave get, active at all in terms of this offense. So I'm always skeptical of the Saints, but if that offensive line holds up, I think it's reasonable to suggest that this team could be, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good, and the Falcons could end up 0-2 with the Saints 2-0. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. Really, a quick word on this. The Ravens are now 0-2. The Steelers are 2-0, and I'm not going to get crazy over a win at Denver because Bo Nix sort of gift-wrapped it. But suddenly the Ravens are 2 games behind Pittsburgh, and Baltimore's next 3 games are at Dallas, a team that needs to win, home against Buffalo, and at Cincinnati. I mean, it's not unreasonable to think the Ravens could be 0-5, more than likely 1-4, at best 2-3. They're in danger of having a long climb over the last, 12 games of the season.
Yeah, we saw this in Baltimore last year where they lost. They gave up double-digit leads early. I don't panic. I don't hit the panic button too much on Baltimore just because they're so well coached. They're loaded on both sides of the ball. They are adjusting, Offensively, you have some question marks about how they're sort of adjusting to using more two tight end personnel, but more importantly, how they're this offensive line is a problem, and it's really taking it didn't gel in the off season or the preseason, and it's taken it time to get there. 0-2 is never good,
no,
but you lose on the last second field goal to a team where you had a double-digit lead with 11 minutes left this week, and you lose, by a toe against the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champion, two-time defending Super Bowl champion in week one. I think the Ravens will be fine. I'm with you. Like, those are tough games they've got to play, but they're tough games for the teams on the Ravens schedule too,
No question. I think the best thing you could say about Baltimore's 0-2 start is that it's Pittsburgh that is 2-0, and I think the ceiling for them is probably 10 wins. So even if you were to fall to 1-4 with 12 games left, I think the rest of their schedule is negotiable enough to get to 10 or 11.
Russell Wilson likes those pads. He's going to be wearing them on the sideline for a while.
Possibly, but he got a Petty game ball for the win.
I respect that. That's a spite game ball, and I respect that for beating Sean Payton and his old team.
That is so fantastic. Another reason why I love Mike Tomlin.